Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to Forex Mechanics. In this video, we are going to be discussing about the currency strength meter that I personally use in my day-to-day trading. I have received a lot of comments in my previous videos asking about the currency strength meter that I use. And I have been trading Forex since quite some time. And I personally believe that you cannot really trade Forex without analyzing individual currencies. So trading Forex is about analyzing currencies and not currency pairs, right? So irrespective whether you're trading euro dollar, pound dollar, or any currency pair of your choice, unless you're aware of what the individual currency is doing, looking at an individual currency pair is not really the way to trade, right? Before we begin, a quick disclaimer, and I also have a couple of requests from you guys. One is that I want you to subscribe to my channel and share it with with your friends or other trader colleagues. I'm sure the channel will add value to their trading as well. And one more request I have is that I've noticed that a lot of you have asked me questions on my previous video. I believe that maybe you guys skip some parts of the video in between, and those could be critical parts of the video, and then you end up asking me questions in the comment section. So my request is just spend 20-25 minutes on the videos because it is going to add value to your trading instead of skipping the video, because what will happen is that you may end up missing some critical parts, right? So that said and done, let's start with the video. So here you can see I have got a quick example for you. Now here you have the euro and the dollar. Looking at this image, can you tell me, looking at euro and the dollar image, looking at the current trend, would you be buying the euro dollar or would you be selling? Right? Ask yourself. Personally, if you ask me, I would not really trade this currency pair. I would not trade the euro dollar. The reason being, the euro is also rising in value and the dollar is also rising in value. And in Forex trading, you obviously want to see one currency rising in value and the other currency to be falling in value. Only if that happens is when you could look at some possible trading opportunities. Now, second example, look at the euro and look at the pound. So here, tell me, what is the position that you would take? Look at the euro, look at the pound. So here you can see the euro is rising in value, the pound is going down in value. So it's very simple, a rising euro, a falling pound, which means I would look for buy positions on the euro pound, right? So with this said and done, let's have a quick look at the currency strength meter that I use personally in my day-to-day trading. Now, this is a CSM. Now, before I begin, this is a currency strength meter that I have designed for myself. It's been professionally programmed by a programmer based on the requests that I've had, and I use this in my day-to-day trading. So this is a very important part of my trading, and I don't really start my trading day without really looking at this currency strength meter. It's giving you very simple information, but then obviously it's when you plug it with the other indicators, which I personally use for my trading, when you plug it with other indicators, it adds a lot of value. So here currently you can see, based on the current situation, which is that looking at today's day when I'm recording this video, you can very clearly see that dollar, which is in green here, right? This is the value. So it clearly is telling you right at now that dollar is strong, and you have the Canadian dollar, which is weak. Now the Canadian dollar is it's coded in pink, so this is the color here. So you can see here this is pink. Now if I just zoom in a little bit, you can very clearly see that CAD, this is a Canadian index, has started to move away from the other 7 currencies. Here you can see this is the CAD, which is moved away from the other currencies, right? And does this mean that just by looking at these currencies here, I simply go and place a trade that looking at dollar CAD here, does it mean I simply go and go long on dollar CAD? No. Obviously, you're going to look at some other aspects of your trading strategy. But what it's telling you is that at the moment, CAD is weak and the dollar is strong. So if you are looking at a position, like here you can see CAD, dollar is right on top and CAD is right here. And CAD actually pierced through all the other currencies today, just a while ago, which is telling you that the CAD is weak and the dollar is strong, right? Now this is how the whole currency meter works, right? Before you start your trading day, you look at the currencies to understand which currency you would want to trade, or which currency pair would you want to look at for a possible trade, vice versa, if you are already tracking a currency pair, you would want to see how the currencies are placed right at the moment. Now here there are multiple settings which are available, but I use a specific setting, and this is a setting that I recommend to all the users who have been using this currency meter. That it's got multiple settings. You can change the colors. You can change the colors of your choice, and obviously you can track multiple currencies at the same time. So this, if you mention all this as true, so you can see all the currencies here. If I mention it as true, you can you can track all the currencies. Here there are multiple time frames, but the time frame that I personally like is a 6-hour time frame. This is the time frame I like, and I use this time frame, and I recommend this time frame. You can change the width. It has got MT4 alerts, so you have some sound alerts in case you want to track, and then you have some alert level as well, right? So very basic settings, but all said and done, what is important is that the information that it gives you. So I'll quickly take an example. I'll take a very recent example that happened. So here you can very clearly see this is the yen, right? If I write here, this color here, this is the yen, right? So yen was basically weak, right? This is since 31st May. So yen has been weak in the month of June, at least in the start of June, right? And so yen was the weakest currency, and on the flip side, you had Australian dollar, you had the Canadian dollar, so you had these currencies. Now, I will quickly take an example of CAD yen. So what happens is, if I simply drag and drop the indicator on a currency pair, it will simply show the two currencies which are involved. Now, only by looking at these currencies. So for now, I'm only going to be discussing about the currency strength meter, right? I will be giving you an overview about the indicators that I personally use. Now, most of the traders who have been using CSM, they have tweaked this indicator with other indicators and come up with very powerful strategies, right? In this case, what I have on my screen is the ADX. Now, the complete strategy is something that I'll be discussing in another video. But what I want you to understand is that how the CSM is helping me to take a trading decision. So here you can see we are on the CAD yen, which is on the 1 hour chart. Here it's simply showing you the CAD. So this is just a number, right? So here it's telling you minus 21, which is telling you that the CAD is indeed weak. And here you can see that I've kept like the top 6 pairs. So here you can very clearly see that CAD is dominant. So you can see CAD with dollar CAD, NSD CAD, CAD CHF, CAD yen. So basically there is a lot of CAD in the top 6 pairs, which is also giving me a hint that CAD is indeed weak. But I've already understood this because when I was looking at the overall currency strength meter, and the fact that the CAD moved away from the other currencies was a hint that the CAD is getting weak, right? So now here, let's take an example of how this currency strength meter helps me take a trading decision. So very clearly you can see prior to this, so on this chart at the moment, you can see right when here, both these currencies were just, intersecting each other. There was no real clear trend. The EMAs were also flat. There was no trend at all. What happened is, starting 1st of June, or I would say around 30th of May, you could see that the EMAs were nicely opening out. And what is more important is that you could very clearly see that both the currencies had now started to move away from each other. What hint does it give you? The hint that it's giving you is that when the currency started rising in value, when these EMAs started opening up, right, and both the currencies also started moving. Now I have a plus 10 level and a minus 10 level. When they started moving away from each other, this gave me the first hint that I am going to be looking for long opportunities on the CAD yen. And you can see here they started moving away. So on the 31st May, they started moving away even further, which gave you more hints. Now, all I'm trying to tell you is right from 30th May until you would say the 8th of June, the position that you would be looking at, right? So that is around 30th till the 8th, right? So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8 days. There were long opportunities on the CAD yen. Now, almost after 8 days and after such a big trend which happened for 8 days, right? I'm not saying that we are going to be timing the trades and what strategy are you going to be using? RSI? Are you going to be using MACD, ADX, any other indicator? No. All I'm trying to tell you is that the EMA started fanning out, nicely moving away from each other, and the the two involved currencies started moving against each other very clearly. So they started trending above the 10. This was trending faster, as in, this was falling faster below -10. So this obviously gave you an indication that the currencies now started to move against each other. Right now, any indicator that you would use, right? For example, if you're looking at the ADX, right? This is where the trend began, and you have an ADX. You're using the ADX. I will be discussing about ADX in the next video, which I will be uploading in the coming week, which is a strategy that has been submitted by one of our CSM users who's been using CSM since a very long time. And this ADX, the way it has been used and the way the trader uses is extremely powerful. So obviously I don't want to confuse you guys with this strategy in this video. That's the reason why I'm telling you, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so that every time I'm uploading a video, you will be aware of the videos that I'm coming up with. But in this video, if I have to give you a simple example, you knew that on the 30th of May, when we saw that these two currencies were moving against each other, we saw that, and at the same time, we saw this nice EMA moving in the upward direction. What happened the next day? There was, you can see that price kind of stalled. It moved back into the EMAs. And let's say if I have to use this ADX 25 level as my trigger, right? So when you can see when the plus DI line, which is the buyer's line in this case, I'm assuming that a lot of you are aware of ADX. If you're not, I have to quickly tell you in this, just for understanding the CSM a little better, that ADX is basically got three lines, right? It's got the green line, which is the buyer's line, the red line, which is the seller's line, and obviously the blue line is the ADX line. So when the buyers are above, when the green line is above the red line, it's basically telling you that the buyers are moving the market. And on the flip side, when the red is down, like in this case here, when the red moved up and the green moved down, it's telling you that the sellers are in control. So here you can see when the red line moved up, you can very clearly see that the sellers were in control from here, right? So that's how the ADX works. And the blue line indicates that whenever there is a crossover between the red and the green, or the buyers and the sellers, if the blue line starts moving in a sharp manner and it starts crossing 25 and it starts moving up, it is telling you that it is going to be a strong trend. Understand that the blue line is got nothing to do with the buyers and the sellers. It is simply going to track the trend strength, right? So let's say in this example, when when the moving averages crossed each other, which was on the 30th of May, and you can see CAD and the yen started moving against each other, then right here you would look at, right from here onwards, right from this point onwards, you would be looking at buy opportunities. Why? One, because obviously price is now trading above the EMAs, right? In this case, I have I have multiple EMAs here, but if I have to give an example, we have the 100 EMA here. So when price is moving obviously above the 100 EMA, so we are looking at buy opportunities. Now price is below the 100 EMA, so we're looking at sell opportunities. Now what I'm trying to tell you here is that when price moved above and when these EMAs were moving, you can see how these two currencies moving opposite is the most important criteria. Forget EMAs, forget ADX, forget RSI. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The fact is that my first indication that should I be even looking at trading this currency pair is because CAD as a individual currency is strong. Yen as an individual currency is equally weak. So I know that CAD is strong, getting stronger. Yen is weak, getting weaker. Now, once I know this, I just know that I am only going to be looking for buy opportunities CAD yen. Why? Because of the fact that CAD is long, yen is weak. Now I can maybe use my other indicators. It could be an RSI or whichever indicator that you use for entering into this existing trend, right? So what I am looking at, I'm not looking at any of these indicators, right? I'm not looking at. My first criteria is that are the two currencies actually moving against each other? And once I see that, then in conjunction with the EMAs, it gives me an additional confirmation that yes, a new trend has started. Why? Because here you can see the EMA started crossing and you can see how nicely they started fanning out, and then you had a buy opportunity. So now if I have to use, let's say, an ADX indicator, and I'm saying on the H1 time frame, if I see a fresh cross of the ADX, when in this case the buyers are in control, so you can see the green line is in control. So you can very clearly see there was how after this uptrend, you can see the ADX, there was a slight drop, and then again the buyers came in control. So let's assume that this 25 level crossover here is my entry level right around here. If this is my entry level, then I know that from here I can hold on to the trade. Right now, this is one aspect of looking at this. Right now, there are, when I talk about the entire strategy that we have at Forex Mechanics for most of our users, that comprises of multiple other factors, right? But for me, the first thing is the CSM. The moment I look at any currency pair, and when I see these two currencies, so even if I have to simply drag and drop, let's say my top favorite 10, 12 currency pairs, and I simply drag and drop them, and when I see that, okay, you know what, this is a good currency pair that I should be looking at. So let's say if I show you another example, let me just pull up that right here. Okay. Right. So here there's another example, right? And then I will go back to the Canadian example as well. So here you can see another example, right? Again, similarly, why this was happening? Because it was the yen which was dominating the market, right? So this is how you get some signals here, right? We'll ignore that for now. So here you can see yen was obviously weak and AUD was strong. You can see how nicely they have moved again. So compare it to this here and compare it here. So you can see back on the 24th of May, they were just from 24th, 25th, 26th, almost 27th. It was on almost on the 30th that we clearly saw that, hey, these currencies have now started moving against each other, and you can see a start of a fresh trend. Right now, looking at this currency crossover here compared to here you're already late. But this is quite fresh because it's a 100 EMA crossover, and this nice EMAs have crossed, and these both currencies have now started to move against each other. So here again, you can see when they started moving against each other on the 30th, I got if I'm looking at ADX as an entry, you can see here again when ADX dipped and there was another sharp crossover of ADX. So you could look at an entry somewhere around here. Then you could look at an entry somewhere on the 2nd of June. Now, the point again I said is, in this video, I'm not going to be discussing other indicators. What I want you all to understand is that how CSM allows you to look at the right currency pair. Now, so let's say right now at this moment, let's say you took a trade in AUDN, or let's say you have been only been taking buy positions on AUDN from the 31st of May, right? Because this is the 30th of May. This is the start of the fresh trend. Let's assume that we took it the next day, right? So let's say if you took it on 31st and then you kept taking buy positions based on your strategy, let's say RSI, every time you saw it cross on the 30-minute or 1 hour time frame, when you saw it cross the 50 or any level or any other indicator of your choice, whenever you saw an entry, you kept taking buy positions. Now, what is happening right now? So right now you can see right around here, right, price has now started to drop below the 100. Price, and you can see when price drops below the 100, notice what happens. If you look at this as a currency crossover, this is also a crossover. When price starting yesterday, which is the 9th of June, price crossed below the 100. So currently price is trading below the 100. And just around 10 days back, which is around the 27th of May, price had crossed and started moving. What is the difference? You can see the difference in this crossover and this crossover. The difference is that this is an uptrend, right? This was a clear uptrend because the EMAs were in line, both the currencies are nicely moving against each other, and you had a nice rising ADX. But now see what has happened. None of your criteria is met. Even though you have seen a crossover, or even though you can see prices moving 100, look at what the currencies are doing. Suddenly the currency have come into a range. So let's assume that I have gone for some vacation and I'm coming back, and AUDN is obviously a pair that I personally tell traders, which AUDN pair is a pair that literally every currency trader should be tracking. It is very important to track AUDN because that tells you a lot about what is going on in the market. Why you should be tracking AUDN, that is for another video, because I will have to spend a good 20-25 minutes on why tracking AUDN is very important for you as a forex trader. So let's keep that for another video. But in this case, what you will notice is, even though currency is now based on my rule, let's say if I trade whenever there's a 100 crossover, so the price is now moved below 100, but do I have a trade? I don't have a trade, right? Again, like I mentioned, I'm not going to look at the other aspects which you see here. I look at ATR, I look at these arrows also mean something. This is the ADX. You see these daily, weekly lines. All these things make my entire strategy. But what is more important, the most critical aspect of my strategy is the CSM itself. Because forget other indicators. Just by looking at this, I will say, if I've come back from a vacation, I open my chart, I look at AUD and I'm like, okay, you know what, should I be trading? No, no trade. Why? Look at the currencies. Both the currencies rising and both have just entered this plus and minus. It's just in a range. So I'm not even going to look at this. So what could this possibly mean? It could possibly mean that it could enter a range for a few days and maybe it could continue an uptrend. Why would it continue an uptrend? Now, if I look at this indicator, you can see it's, if I look at the long-term trend, it is showing me an up arrow, which basically means that I should be looking for long position. But ignoring that indicator, just by looking at the CSM, it is keeping me out from trading AUDN. Now, if I go back to the CAD-yen example, which is what is happening today, right now, because this is a live example. So here you can see, if I go back to my original CSM, which is tracking the entire market, here you can see today the CAD is weak. Today the CAD is weak because it is moved against all the other currencies. So the CAD is weak, and you can see another currency which is getting weak is the euro. So here you can see CAD is weak, and here you can see the euro dropping. If I have to just zoom a little bit, you can see this is another green line. This is telling you that the euro is also coming down in value. This is the euro, right? So the euro is also getting weak. So just by looking at here, you can see euro is weak and the CAD is weak. This is what is happening at the moment, right? This is today in real time. But now, if the CAD is weak, right, and because I have been trading the CAD in and I've been looking at long positions, and here you can very clearly see that price dropped below the 100, right? Now, if I have to zoom the chart, you can see this, right? Price, this is the candle which traded below the 100. So you can see this candle on the 1 hour has completely closed below the 100 EMA, right? And at the same time, you can see that the CAD today is weak, right? And yen is not really that strong. But what is it telling you? That the CAD is very weak. But based on my strategy, I'm not going to look at any trade positions. Why? Because trade on CAD yen happened here. So if you are not trading CAD yen from 31st May right until say the 8th of June, now you're just increasing your risk. Why? Because look at this. The two currencies were just in your favor. And that's the reason why, you must have heard that a lot of people may tell you that, currencies don't trend all the time. And which is true. Currencies don't really trend all the time. A currency pair may trend maybe 30-40% of the time. But if you're not trading during the trends, then trading during such times is just very difficult, right? So because I like to keep it simple, I like to see everything in my favor. So when I see these two currencies, when they are nicely moving against each other, and then I see a nice fresh EMA cross, it is telling me, then with that, looking at the ATR and some other aspects of my overall strategy, that helps me to take a trade. So looking at CAD yen today, based on the CSM, yes, if you can see today, as of today, there is a short position. But for me, am I looking at a position? No, because I'm not a scalper. I'm not looking for, even if I have to take a trade and keep it open for maybe, like an intraday trade where I'm keeping it open for 4 hours or 8 hours or 7 hours, I want to see that the currency, the two indexes move against each other. And when they move against each other, you can see this, how simultaneously they move. And when they do, you get very easy positions. It's stress-free. You can just open your trade and then simply, move back and then just observe your trade. But at the moment, am I looking at a short position? I'm not looking at it. It may fall, it may drop. That is fine by me. Because when you look at these charts here, which is an easier setup? Wouldn't have this been an easier setup? Obviously, this would have been an easier setup, because very clearly you can see how the currencies have been very nicely trending. So obviously you would want to see, you would want to trade currencies which are trading against each other, because that is when you get some really good trades. Here you can see yen was driving and you had the pound against each other. So based on your strategy, if you had a trade, right now is there a trade? No trade. You can simply see just by looking at this, both are green, no trade. Right? Just by looking here, you can come to know there is no trade. So I'm not even going to look at this currency pair because it's not going to give me any trade opportunity, because the trade opportunity is gone. It happened a few days back. So here you can see again, this is a euro yen. Why has this happened? Because it was the yen which was dominating the market. Looking at it now, you can see the yen is here. This is a euro losing some value. Should I be trading? Based on my strategy, I will not be taking this trade, because my strategy, based on the rules that I have, it is not allowing me to trade. So I will simply skip. Just because you're a Forex trader doesn't mean that you should be trading every day. Now, I have left a link in the description for my Telegram channel. I highly recommend you join the channel, because that's where we come up with, it is easier to stay in touch because we keep updating a lot of stuff, and what currency pair we are looking at and all possible things. But honestly, this CSM indicator is a very simple tool. It simply helps you to take trades. It simply tells you to, it helps you understand if the currency pair that you're trading is actually moving against each other or not. And it overall will keep you in the right direction. And it'll ensure that you don't take a lot of wrong positions. No trade, no indicator, or no currency strategy is going to give you 100% results. But this simple filter of understanding if two currencies are moving against each other will always help you. It will always help you keep on the right side of the market. So in this example, it was very clear that in this, the CSM indicator, it is the yen which is moving. Right now, you can see the CAD weakness. Here previously it was yen which was weak and it was moving the market. Today it is a CAD, but it is just that CAD is not as weak for me to really look at any trade positions at the moment, right? So this is how the CSM works. This is the CSM indicator. In case if you wish to get a copy of the CSM indicator, I've left the link in the description below. Now, I obviously use a complete overall strategy with the CSM, which helps me uh, take good trades. But a lot of our CSM users have tweaked and they have, combined it with multiple indicators, and they've come up with really brilliant strategies. Some of which we have already shared on our Telegram channel. One of which we have shared on the Telegram channel recently. So it's a part of the pinned message. I've pinned that message on the Telegram group. I urge you to join the Telegram group because it is more informative. It is easy to stay in touch, and we keep updating the Telegram group every day. I urge you to join the group. And in case if you want to get a copy of the CSM indicator, you can use the link below. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the next video, I will be discussing in detail about ADX and how we use ADX with the CSM. So here on my screen, what you see is the ADX indicator. So just have patience. In the next video, I will be discussing about this indicator, and we will be sharing how we use this indicator with the CSM, and we will discuss the ADX at length and how we use it. Right? So I look forward to seeing you in the other video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Bye-bye.